This is a Fathers, Mothers, and Family show here on KPSU Radio. We're hooking up via satellite with Q Madp. Q, are you out there? Can you hear us?
Hey, Jim, I'm out here. Good evening.
Okay. Thank you very much for patiently waiting while we have a little musical interlude here. The views and opinions on the following show. This show are those of the host, the guests, and the live callers. They do not necessarily reflect the opinions of Portland State University, KPSU Radio, or the participating sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. Q, IraqWarHeroes.com, and a number of others honoring our troops. Give us a little background here, and then tell us a little about your thoughts on President Day. Q.
Well, I run several tribute sites. My main project is IraqWarHeroes.org or .com, either one. And the good news I can report is that the numbers of casualties has really dropped down low.
Okay.
So, for the last couple of weeks, I haven't had a single one, which is great.
Oh.
I'll be glad when I won't be adding any new ones. Currently, we have over 6,822 men and women that gave their life serving our country in the current conflict.
Oh, my, 6,822. Q, bit by bit, this has added up over the last just about 10 years, March 19th, 2003, something like that?
That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct.
It's been just about a decade. Tell us more about what you have done to honor our soldiers, men and women.
Well, along with running the tribute site, which is dedicated to all the men and women that served in Iraq and or Afghanistan and FTCs, I also try to get to as many funerals as I can get to, and I photograph them for free for the families. And over the last few years, I've been doing also a lot of veteran funerals, and been focusing. So I've had to create sites appropriate for each one of them. So lately, I've been concentrating on my main page, new main page. It's called OurWarHeroes.org, OurWar Heroes.org, which then has a link to the individual tribute sites.
Okay.
Now, you're familiar with the word KIA, killed in action, correct?
Yes.
Now, believe it or not, but I have been to the funeral of someone that's been killed in action in the Civil War, War of 1812,
Oh, my.
World War I, World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War, and then, of course, Afghanistan and Iraq. Now, you wonder how that's come about some of the others. For example, one of the more recent World War II ones, his remains were found in the Netherlands by three guys that go around with metal detectors and checking out old war sites. And one of these guys was from Oregon, so I was there to help escort him home and then, of course, attended to his service.
Yes.
Unfortunately, not a lot of people came because they say, well, it was a long time ago. And I'm like, it was not this soldier's fault that it took this long for us to get him home.
It's not his fault that it took 60 years to find him buried in a field somewhere.
That is correct.
And World War II, it's...
World War II, and like I said, a also did one on the Civil War. His name is, I just happened to pull it up. His name is Peter J. Knapp. They found his remains on a shelf and identified it and finally got him to his family, and he finally had military honors was just this last April 13th last year. They buried him at Willamette.
The Civil War. The funerals, the honoring of our veterans, in a way, it just spans generations here. It spans a decade. It spans a century and a half or more.
Oh, yes. I've not done, Civil War is the earliest one I've done. Or is it the War of 1812? Can't remember which. No, I think Civil War was first, right? My history is really lousy because I can't remember anything.
Yeah, War of 1812 was before the...
War of 1812, it went first the Revolutionary War, then the war... Well, first the French-American... the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, the Civil War, and then World War I and World War II, and of course on and on.
Civil War was 1861 to 1865. Yeah. Q, that goes back 200 years.
Yeah, it goes back quite a way, and I believe that was in Albany, Oregon, down in that area where they have, identified him as one of that particular war. So that was also interesting.
Well, the thing about the Oregon people was Oregon basically didn't want to be involved in the slave issue, so they made a law that said that black people couldn't come into Oregon, live here. So then that avoided them being involved, taking sides between the North or the South. But there were people that would join up either with the North or with the South that lived in Oregon, and they went off to their respective sites. Most, of course, shared the North side and sided with the North. But, yes, we did have people from Oregon that did, and, of course, there was people that from Oregon that also served in the Spanish-American War as well.
Yeah. And tell us a little bit more about the evolution of your websites here, Q, and your...
I've been focusing on that, and I've also been playing a lot of catch up, because I have people that send me emails from all over to send me photos, stories, and things like that to add to their heroes pages, and everything I do is old-fashioned, though it's pretty much all manual. Most of it is not automated on my website, so that's quite a bit of work, but I'm slowly getting caught up again. Tomorrow I'm going to go to Willamette. I'm going to attend a memorial service for a World War II veteran, I believe. And, we're losing a lot of them every day. They're going away fast.
Oh, Q, the youngest ones are approaching 90 now, are they not?
That is correct. That is correct. And, today is Valentine's Day for lots of people. So that means there's a lot of new families out there missing a loved one that gave their all fighting for this country.
And I might add, so that we have to use proper language and decent language and be somewhat respectful. But so they've given their all so that we can give whatever of political opinion we would like, and not have to worry that people come at 3 a.m. and take us away to some camp.
Correct. And, I'm starting to have a little, it's starting to get a little scary out there, isn't it? Yes, and that's exactly it. Most of them join the services to defend our Constitution, to defend this country, to keep us free. And the worst thing that people are doing, I think, is sitting on their butts, not getting up, not getting themselves informed, and not voting to keep this a free country. We've got President's Day coming up, too. One of my favorite presidents is Abraham Lincoln.
Okay.
We used to have Lincoln's birthday and Washington's birthday. They got rid of all of those. Well, the federal government, in some aspects, still celebrates those. But in general, it's all now been pushed down to just President's Day, which has disappointed me ever since they've done this.
Well, one thing about Abraham Lincoln is he stood firm against all the advice to rescind the Emancipation Proclamation so that everything would be real simple, put the country back together, he'd get reelected, only the slaves would not be free. And he refused to do that. He stood firm and said, fine, they can vote me out of office. I will not rescind it. Any man who does something like that and puts his political career on the line, if you ask me, he should have his own birthday.
Well, it used to be that way. I agree with Q. I mean, it used to be that there was, there was Washington's birthday and Abraham Lincoln's birthday, and then you had MLK Day. And, I was thinking, it's weird that I didn't know that Q was coming on to the show, but it was weird that I was thinking about this today. I was thinking about my own military service, which is nothing compared, because I was just a reservist and short-term. It's truly a citizens' army under Bill Clinton.
Thank you for serving.
Well,
yes.
But I don't consider my type of service. It was very different than most military experiences because it was a new program. It was a spit training program that Bill Clinton had for the reserves, and it was an Army Engineer Corps company. And we had a military attachment to us. But I think of my service compared to, like, even I have cousins that, one of my cousins trains the Navy SEALs for diving. And my other cousin, his brother also trains divers, but not for the Navy SEALs. Or I think of my uncle, my Uncle Fred, who went in with MacArthur into Manila Bay, and the atrocities that he saw in liberating the Philippines. And my grandfather, who the same thing, he was a merchant marine and came into Subic Bay and liberated the Philippines with MacArthur. And I think of my Uncle Cliff and my Uncle Ed, and their service, and of course these are people that are long dead, and my Uncle Cliff and my Uncle Ed and my grandfather, Grandpa Potter, was a veteran of 2 foreign wars, both the Second World War and Korea.
Oh my!
So we can't even imagine that. I was thinking, King of the Hill, or he used to say, "I'm a veteran of 2 foreign wars." Well, my grandfather was.
Some that have done 3.
Yes.
World War II.
World War II, Korea.
War, and then Vietnam.
Yes, there has been.
Yeah.
Norman Schwarzkopf was one of those people.
Yeah. Q, go ahead here.
I don't think Norman Schwarzkopf was, but he did. There is the 3.
Yeah.
So I can't even fathom.
Yeah. Q, go ahead.
Okay, we're running short on time. I'm looking at your clock here.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I want to remind people that we've got a lot of guys coming home. We've got a lot of guys already home. Let's make sure that they get the proper attention, get the proper welcome home. It does make a difference if people welcome them home. And then let's not neglect them when they get home.
Mm-hmm.
There's just not enough being done to help these guys. One of the biggest quiet casualties of this war, and it's way too quiet, people should be making more noise about this, is PTSD. We're losing way too many people that are inflicted when they're coming home, and they just, for whatever reason, just snap and lose it. And we got to put a stop to that. There is a good, and if you want, if you're out there, man, and you think you got issues, or you're thinking suicide or whatever, look, there's a VA suicide prevention hotline. I would really like you to call and just talk to somebody, because you can't often talk to the people you're related with, to your family, because they just don't understand. But there's a toll-free number you can call. It's 1-800-273-TALK. 1-800-273-TALK. I've got that number posted at the bottom of IraqWarHeroes.org, and also got a link to it at ourwarheroes.org.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's
because I hate to see this happening. I hate attending their memorial service and often I feel like we're not doing enough to help these guys.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Q, and it's great that you're posting that on your website. Thank you so much for that, because these veterans that are suffering from this is a horrible thing, this PSD. My uncle had it. I know some veteran fellow, a friend of mine that was a Marine. He had a bit of it. I don't know if how well he's doing. Said he seems to have gotten better. Mm-hmm. To me, he seems to have gotten better. But before, he was not in a good state when he had first came back. So this is an important issue that we need to address, this mental health crisis with the veterans.
Q, some final thoughts here.
Yeah, I'm going to have some new postcards. And it's going to show a biker on riding in the snow. Had just returned from a memorial service. He was standing tall. And it's going to be a new postcard, and I should have those in about 7 days. Anyone that emails me via my website, sends me a mailing address, I will mail you one of these cards when I get them.
Okay.
It's a great reminder of our war, and it's also a shout-out and a thank you to the Patriot Guard riders that are out there standing tall, rain or shine, for our heroes.
Yeah. OurWarHeroes.org. Q Madp, thank you so much for being part of our show. Q, you are welcome to be part of our show anytime here. And thank you so much for being part of our show, Q Madp.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you to everybody out there serving. Bye-bye.
Okay. All right, bye now.
Thanks, Q.
Nathan, a couple of final thoughts here.
I just want to say that I agree with Q that this mental health crisis and the fact that there are veterans that are homeless is unconscionable to me. And we need to address this and provide proper services for the veterans in this country.
Okay. Nathan, thank you so much for being part of our show here, KPSU Radio, Fathers, Mothers, and Family Show. We love Portland State University and KPSU for allowing this show, both sides, all side, every side, this show to be here week by week. We'll go out with a little